Hey everyone, it's me again. Thanks for coming back to the channel. I'm heading back home to Minnesota from Illinois, so it's kind of dark right now, which is why it looks like it's just an audio file. So sorry about that, but I thought I would do another video, but do some of one of my daughter's favorite Norse mythology stories, just so they could have, and just so you guys can hear it too. I mean, obviously it'll have my own little flair to it, so if it's not 100% accurate, save your emails, save your text messages. I'm just telling the story how I want to, but it's going to be pretty close. Anyway, this one is The Theft of Mjolnir. This one is one of Charlotte's favorite ones, my oldest. This one she really likes. Anyway, let's get started. So, Thor wasn't quite awake yet in the morning. He kind of woke up and he was, obviously in a Thor-like mood. And he reached around to get, his hammer. Because, Thor loves his hammer. And it's the thing that really made him feel Thorish, was his hammer. And he reached around, he couldn't find it. So he finally opened up his eyes to look around, and he didn't see his hammer. So he sat up, thinking, there's no way that I got so intoxicated that I lost my hammer somewhere. So he decided to look all around his room, and he just could not find his hammer anywhere. And he thought to himself, when stuff goes wrong, what should I do first? And who should I consider first in this dilemma? Loki. And so, Thor being Thor, went ahead and left his room and went right over to Loki's room. Didn't knock, he just pushed the door right in. To which Loki, to his surprise and horror, Thor came to him almost in a rage. He said, "Loki, don't tell anyone. I don't want to cause a panic. But the hammer of the gods has been stolen. I know it has been." And Loki, looking at Thor, said, "Well, let me help you find it." And so they went back to Thor's room, and Loki looked and looked, and he could not find Thor's hammer. He said, "Well, yeah, I guess your hammer has been stolen. Well, what can we do? I know. Let's go talk with Freya. She has this magical cloak that I could use to transform into a bird and fly around. Maybe I could find your hammer." "Yes, that's a good idea, Loki. Let's do that right now." So Thor and Loki head on over to Freya's house, knock on the door, which Freya answers. Seeing Loki, she obviously was very reluctant to listen to anything they had to say. But Thor insisted. "Freya, my hammer has been stolen. Loki needs to borrow your cloak." And no, absolutely not. Whatever mischievous thing is going on, I want no part of it. I don't trust you, Loki. I'm not going to give you my cloak. "Well, the hammer has been stolen, and it protects all of you and us here in Asgard." "Well, you have a good point. So, I'll let you borrow it, but I'm not happy about this." And so, Freya gave Loki her feather cloak, and he transformed himself into a bird, and he started flying towards the Jotunheim. Because who would be so bold as to steal Thor's hammer than the giants? So he flew, and as he got to the Jotunheim, he looked down, And sitting down by a tree was the most ugly ogre you could think of. He flew down, and the ogre looked up, and he said, "Ah, Loki, son of Loive, what brings you to the land of the giants?" And so Loki landed and transformed back into himself. And he said, "Well, actually, it's quite a mystery that I'm looking for Thor's hammer. Would you happen to know anything about where it might be?" "Oh yes, I definitely know where Thor's hammer is. I stole it, and I hid it underground where no one, even Heimdall, will be able to find it." "Well, maybe I could ransom it. I have gold and I have gems, and there's other trinkets I could have." "I don't want any of that." "What do you want?" "I want to marry Freya." "Oh, you want to marry Freya?" "Yes, and I'm not going to give back his hammer until she agrees to marry me. I will give it as a wedding gift after she marries me." Well, okay, well, I will tell her, but who are you so I can tell her who she's marrying?" "Why, Loki, son of Loive. I am Thrym, lord of the giants." And at that, Loki turned back into a bird and flew back to Asgard. As he approached Asgard, Thor seen him and waiting in the most patient way that Thor could wait. Loki landed, and Thor took him immediately, grabbed him, said, "Loki, you know where my hammer is. Tell me. I don't trust you, Loki. You tell me now where my hammer is." Loki's shaken up. Yes, I know where your hammer is. I know where it was been taken, at least, and who took it." "Okay, who took it?" "Well, his name is Thrym. He's the Lord of the Giants, and, well, what does he want for it? I want my hammer back." I'm going to tell you what he wants. Just calm down. He wants Freya's hand in marriage. He just wants her hand? Well, that shouldn't be too much trouble. I mean, Tyr gave up his hand, so I'm sure she'd be okay with giving her hand. No. He wants to marry Freya. Oh. Well, let's go right away and talk with her. And so they go over to Freya's house again, to which Thor, now he's still impatient, but he is also nervous, because Freya is, well, she's not someone to be trifled with. And so Freya comes back to the door, and Loki gives her back the cloak. And she says, "Well, did you find Thor's hammer?" Yes, we found it. Well, at least who has it. And we can get it back, too. It's just, what is it? Well, it was taken by this giant named Thrym. And he'll only give it back if you agree to marry him. "Oh, that's it, huh?" And Thor obviously piped up, "Oh, yes, that's all it is. See, I mean, I'm glad you were taking to this a lot better than I thought you would. So, let's get you gowned up and let's get you over to Thrym so I can get my hammer back." And Freya, in her way of giving an answer, slams the door in Thor and Loki's face. I don't think she liked that idea, Loki. No, she did not like the idea. And so, all the other gods and goddesses, minus Freya, of course, held council. And they all decided that the hammer missing was definitely not good. And so they needed to figure out a way to get the hammer back. But one after another, people came and gave an idea which was not any good here and there. and everyone had spoken, and there were just no good ideas among the gods. Finally, Heimdall spoke up. He said, "I have an idea, but Thor, you're really not going to like this idea." "Heimdall, I will do this idea. If it is a good idea and it will get my hammer back, I will do it." "Well, all right. See, what you need to do is, he wants to marry Freya, and he had never met Freya before, so he had only heard of her beauty. You need to just put on a wedding gown and just, no, that is not going to happen. I cannot put on a wedding gown. It'll be embarrassing, and I'll have to shave my beard. I can't shave my beard. This is not a good idea. I told you it wasn't going to be a great idea. This is not..." And then Loki spoke up and said, "Thor, this is the best idea we have heard, and it will work. He's a giant. He's not very smart. He won't, and he's never met Freya. This is a perfect idea. I don't like this. It doesn't matter if you like it, Thor. Do you want your hammer back, or would you rather that the trolls come and take over Asgard?" So Thor reluctantly accepted the idea. And of course, all the goddesses were just happy with being able to do this, especially to the almighty Thor. So they take Thor and they fit him for a wedding gown, and they give him kingies that jingle and rings on his fingers, and just make him look just absolutely brightish. But one of the goddesses was, I don't know about this. I mean, look at his face. I mean, it's Thor. There's no hiding it. There's nothing we can do. Well, wait. Why don't we just put on a wedding veil, and no one will see his face, and it'll be perfect. We can do that. But there is the fact that he has to talk occasionally. Loki piped up and said, "I will go, and I will disguise myself as a bridal maiden. And I'll make sure that he doesn't talk, and this will work out perfectly." Thor, still seething with rage, is not happy with this at all. But he agrees that this is going to have to work. And so Thor gets his 2 goats, Nala and Grinder, and his chariot, and they head off for the Jotunheim. Him and Loki, they head off over to meet with Thrym. As they start to arrive, they see that there are a bunch of giants frantically trying to get the place ready for them. Now, since they've had this meeting, and as we go to the time of the ceremony, it's been a very long time. It's been days and days. And so, as they approach, they are about finished with getting all the preparations done. And they land and finally just get out of their chariot, whereas Thrym's sister approaches. Said, "So, you are Freya, allegedly the most beautiful goddess. Under that veil, I don't know, you don't look like much. But, what is that? And your legs, they're so different. They're so big." "Oh," said Loki, "yes, she is quite strong for a goddess, so there's nothing to worry about. And so, don't worry about it, okay? It'll be all fine." Well, Thrym's sister decided that, she has much to gain from this, maybe. And she goes to Thor and she says, I want your rings off your hand as a gift. You need to give them to me. I am Thrym's sister, so I can make your life miserable here." "Ah, yes, the bride has arrived," shouts Thrym. Come in. And so they go past Thrym's sister into the hall. Ah, yes. I knew that Freya would come. Well, yes, we are here. It looks like you're setting up for a feast. Yes, this would be the best feast ever. Which Thor kind of perked up a little bit because, well, Thor loves to eat. Yes, why don't you come and sit by me, Freya? You can sit by me and then we can speak of how the night will go. And then Loki, to save Thor, it is our custom to where I will sit in between you, and later on, then you will sit with Freya. Oh, that's disappointing. Oh well, let's get on with the feast. And so, Thor sits in his seat, and Thrym in his, and Loki sits between them. And they decide that it's best that they go and they start with the main course. But before that, they bring out some nice pastries for all the ladies to eat. To which Thor, since he hasn't eaten but since they left Asgard, is thoroughly happy. So the plate of pastries comes to him, and he decides that, well, instead of just taking one, he's just going to eat the whole entire thing. And so he lifts the silver platter to his mouth and just devours all of the pastries, to the dismay of all the other ladies that are there. Thrym, obviously, he's very excited. He's like, oh, yes, she has an appetite. Oh, good. This is going to be great. And Loki just hangs his head, Thor. He just thinks to himself, Thor, please don't be your normal self. Ah, yes, the main course has arrived. And so they start bringing out salmon and ox, and they bring out mead for everyone to drink as well. Well, as the feast goes...
In 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to take the I-380 North U, S-218 North exit toward Waterloo Airport.
As the feast goes on, Thor decides that, well, I'm very hungry, so I'm going to eat. And so Thor eats 7 salmon, whole salmons, just eats them all. And he devours an entire ox. And he just goes ahead and polishes off 2 kegs of mead. And Thrym is starting to be a little suspicious. And he looks over at Loki, who is disguised as a bridal servant. I have never seen anyone eat so much. I don't know what to think. And Loki, being the quick thinker he is, she hasn't eaten for like 9 days. She said she loves you so much and she's not going to eat. And yeah, that's why she's eating so much. And at that, Thor took another salmon and just went underneath the veil and just pulled.
In half a mile, use the right 2 lanes to take the I-380 North U, S-218 North exit toward Waterloo Airport.
Well, that explains her hunger, I guess. Yes, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad you're eating, my dear. I'm glad. And so
use the right 2 lanes to take the I-380 North exit.
And time still goes on, and he's like, well, I think it is time.
In half a mile, merge onto I-380 US 218 North.
To kiss my bride. And so he goes to kiss Thor, and he sees his eyes, and he is shocked, and he jumps back, falls out of his seat almost. Bride servant, why are Freya's eyes so terrifying? Well, there is an explanation for that. You see, she hasn't slept in 9 days. Her love for you is that strong. She couldn't sleep. She was so eager to get here that she couldn't sleep. So that's why. Oh, well, I will tell you after tonight, she will definitely sleep. Now, let us bring in the hammer of Thor as the bridal gift, so that we may finish up the ceremony and I may have my bride. And so, Thor's hammer, being as heavy as it was, took 2 giants to bring it in, and finally came and set it down on Freya's lap. Well, my dear, tell me that you love me. Tell me that you'll be with me forever, my love, my dove. What do you say? Shall we finish the ceremony and head to the bedchamber? And Thor, looking down at his hammer, took his hand and grasped around the shaft, feeling its familiar power. And he said, "Yes, I say we should finish this ceremony." And the look of shock and horror as the hammer smashed into Thrym's face. Well, let's just say that he was not happy with the way that the ceremony ended. So, Thor killed Thrym first, and then he killed all the other giants that were there in attendance, including Thrym's sister. And so, after the slaughter had been done, Thor looked around at the carnage, and he was feeling pretty good. Oh, I had a great meal, and I got to do my favorite thing, killing giants. Where's Loki? Loki! Loki! Loki popped his head out underneath one of the tables. And, there you are, Loki. Well, I've had a great meal, and I've killed some giants. I think it's time for us to head back home. Yes. I can't wait to get out of this dress. It's not making me feel right. It is quite breezy, but I do not like it. Let's get home. And that is the story of how Thor's hammer was stolen and then recovered. Thank you.